Hello to all good people. This is the Pacific Basin. Notice how empty the water is. The water coming up from the bottom, though, is going in the wrong direction. That should be going from right to left. But it just shows you how strong the drawing strength is on all these vortexes. We go up a little higher, looking up into Alaska. You see a little more water coming in, and we're hoping that that'll make it here. And you can see that again, that stream coming up from left to right. Even higher up in Alaska, you can see some of the vortexes forming. You see areas of water that are traveling faster than the water in front. Those are being accelerated by the spin of those vortexes. This is the whole United States, and down there on the left center bottom, you can see that huge monster spinning system that came racing down from the Gulf of Alaska, down the California coast, into Arizona. Arizona finally, southern Arizona, got some rain last night after waiting a long time. But that whole circular system is, you can see, starting to compress as something moves down from the northwest. But when you look at California, again, it's like the water knows where the border of California is and will just completely dry out. And people will say that's the Sierra Nevada, dropping the rain on the Sierra Nevada and emptying the rain out of those clouds. However, that happens coming in from the coast, and the coast has no mountains. This is a close-up of that system over the southwest. You can see it elongating, and these were from yesterday. Now on the upper left is Florida. This is the Atlantic Basin, the south and mid-Atlantic Basin. You can see the wall of water, river of water, starting to form just above Brazil. That's pretty high for an equatorial system, and it's traveling in the wrong direction. We look at the Florida and the United States. In the upper left, you can see that system elongating, flattening out. You can see that system over Florida developing a hook. That's a tropical storm. And we're going to show you something weird about that tropical storm. Way in the upper right is Greenland. So you can see kind of the flow of that northern jet stream and the flow happening in the Atlantic. But also you can see that river of moisture coming up through Baja and into Texas. A very, very thin stream. So I'm showing you this water developing over Florida. There's 3 nuclear power plants there, and then right above it there's dozens. But something strange happens to this storm. It started in the Caribbean, crossed the Bahamas and Cuba, went into Florida. Now that monster huge vortex we kept referring to that was driving the northern jet stream finally started to drop down. It's a monster. And you can see it doesn't look like a round spinning storm because the edges are flattening out. And this only happens around the United States, mostly, where spherical round systems develop flat edges due to ridges of high pressure that seem to intersect these things. This is really driving moisture into Europe, and will be driving moisture into Europe, and we'll get an updated image here in just a second. But over Spain and over Great Britain there was a big circulation. This system flooded Spain and created a lot of rain in Great Britain, but it moved out and look what's moving in. That big square that we just showed you in a single day has moved across the Atlantic. That's how fast these things are moving. And and remember, this is coming up north of Greenland, and extending way down past Florida and actually grabbing water from the equatorial region and throwing it up towards Great Britain and Greenland. That's amazing to see that water coming from almost the equator and going all the way up to Greenland. But again, you still see that square edge, that, that's generally we call that not typical, but it's now the new normal. And we think it reeks of artificial high pressure. And so the edge of that monster vortex is encroaching upon Europe, and it will be bringing rain. And it's going to be dominating this area for a few days, no matter how fast it moves, mainly because it's huge. And now look at upper left, look at Florida now. That system has actually went backwards. It went down and to the left, kind of southwest direction. So it started in the Caribbean, crossed Cuba, hit Florida, and then took a left. Yeah, I mean, you see it right here before your eyes. It took a left. We zoom in on Florida, and you can see that system has moved off of Florida and to the left, moving into the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why that would be doing it. The jet stream's going off to the right, so I don't know why this system didn't just keep moving like all the other systems. And then today we look at the upper Pacific Basin up, and you see a ton of water moving in. We've seen this before, though. Again, you see that stream coming up from the right, going in the wrong direction. It's supposed to be traversing right to left, but we have both the northern and southern portion of this whole system that dominates the Pacific current. Is they're both going and headed towards the west coast, and that's a lot of water coming in from the upper left and moving in towards the California, Oregon, and Washington border. But we'll see what happens. I got a feeling that it's going to dry up before it gets into Northern California, just because everything else has. And when you look at the actual low-level water, you'll see that's just... Now this is the most recent image we have of the Pacific Basin. We switched to the cloud top moisture because that's what really determines how much rain there's going to be. And you see that when you switch to this, all of a sudden that water vapor seems to like go away. That's because there's so much particulates in the air, and also fog. This differentiates the fog from the water by really looking at the cloud top concentrations. And this is kind of weird. I wanted to show this to you. You're looking at, in the center of the screen, you're looking at California, Baja, Nevada, but in the upper right of the frame you see a perfect sphere. And where have you seen that again? That size, the rate of spin, all looks familiar, doesn't it? Well, that's artificially created low pressure. This popped up in the midst of that giant vortex that is being compressed and elongated, moved out of Arizona, through New Mexico, and up into the Great Plains. But those spherical systems that you see, there's actually two of them, but the one up high is the one that's better formed and not so elongated. Those are going to accelerate the other moisture coming in. It's going to accelerate that moisture to incredible speeds where no matter how many cloud bands go through, you're not going to get very much rain. But you will get cold because these things are pulling stuff from the north and throwing it south. That air comes from the north, is very cold, ends up in the south in a matter of a day, and chills it down in the southwest. But that upper right hand corner is a classic. This is about the seventh one in 2 or 3 weeks. A classic artificially created low pressure. Those spherical spinning eyes, I call them eyes because of the eye of a storm. Those eyes did not exist the day before yesterday. So keep your eye on the sky. Until next time, be prepared, not scared.